It's every fan's wildest dream to be noticed by their favorite celebrity, to get that one moment of recognition, maybe even a hug or an autograph. But for some lucky fans, that dream turned into something far more unexpected and extraordinary. They went from admiring their idols from afar to becoming their life partners, getting swept up into a whirlwind romance that no one could have predicted. These are the stories of celebrities who, against all odds, married their own fans, proving that sometimes love truly does come from the most unexpected places. It all started with an iconic rock star whose music had defined a generation. He was a larger-than-life figure, famous not just for his electrifying performances, but for his magnetic personality that captivated audiences wherever he went. His concerts were legendary, his fans were die-hard, and his lifestyle was as wild as his music. But in one of the most surprising twists in the world of celebrity relationships, this rock star would fall for one of his most devoted fans. This was the story of none other than Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, and his union with Sharon Osbourne. Sharon first caught Ozzy's eye when she was working as his manager in the 1970s. But while she was handling the business side of things, she never expected to end up in the spotlight herself. Sharon had always been one of Ozzy's biggest supporters, and their professional relationship quickly blossomed into something personal. It wasn't an easy road. Ozzy's well-known battles with addiction, his chaotic lifestyle, and the challenges that came with his fame put their relationship to the test. But despite it all, Sharon stuck by him, and the two eventually married in 1982. Sharon Osbourne went from being a fan of the Prince of Darkness to becoming his wife, managing his career, and becoming a celebrity in her own right. Their story is one of the most famous cases where a fan not only got the chance to meet their idol, but built a life together. Meanwhile, across the ocean, there was another story unfolding, one that was just as unlikely, yet no less magical. In the world of country music, there was a legendary singer whose voice had made her a star. Known for her powerful ballads and unforgettable stage presence, this country icon was admired by millions. But one fan stood out among the rest, a young man who had followed her career for years, attending her concerts, memorizing her songs, and dreaming of the day he might finally meet her. That fan's name was Tim McGraw, and the star he adored was none other than the stunning Faith Hill. Their love story began when Tim met Faith Hill in 1996, just as both of their careers were beginning to soar. The two were paired together for a country music tour, and despite their professional connection, Tim couldn't help but feel starstruck by Faith. It didn't take long for the two to realize they shared a powerful chemistry. Their romance quickly turned into something deeper, and in 1996, Tim McGraw, the fan who had once been in awe of Faith Hill, proposed to her. The two were married in a private ceremony in 1996, and the couple would go on to become one of the most famous power couples in country music, both professionally and personally. Tim had gone from being a fan of Faith Hill's music to making her his wife, and together, they've built an empire that has inspired countless fans to believe that love can happen in the most surprising of ways. While these stories were already impressive, there were still more couples who had defied the odds. In the world of Hollywood, one actress rose to fame with her stunning beauty and undeniable talent. Her acting career had already taken off by the time she made headlines for her relationship with a man who had been a lifelong fan. This actress was Jennifer Lopez, and the man who would go on to marry her was none other than the former backup dancer Chris Judd. Chris had worked with Jennifer Lopez for several years, providing choreography and dancing behind her during her tours. As he worked closely with Jennifer, their professional connection slowly blossomed into something more. Chris had always admired Jennifer for her work, and in time, the two began a relationship. Their whirlwind romance led to a marriage in 2001, though their union would only last a short time, as they divorced in 2002. However, their story remains one of the most famous examples of a fan-turned-husband in Hollywood. In the realm of pop music, another fan-turned-spouse story made waves. This time, it was a famous boy band member who had captured the hearts of millions of teenage girls around the world. He was part of a group that dominated the late 90s and early 2000s with catchy pop tunes and millions of screaming fans. His name was Nick Lackey, a member of the boy band 98 Degrees, and the woman he would marry wasn't just a fellow celebrity. She was a fan who had idolized Nick and his band long before they met. This fan was none other than Jessica Simpson, a rising pop star in her own right, who had been following Nick's career for years. Their story started in 1998 when Nick and Jessica met and quickly hit it off. By 2002, they were married in a highly publicized ceremony, and they became one of the most beloved celebrity couples of the early 2000s. Jessica, who had been a fan of Nick's music long before they became romantically involved, went from being a fan to being the wife of one of the most famous boy band members of the time. Unfortunately, their marriage didn't last, and they divorced in 2006, but their relationship showed the world that sometimes the line between fan and partner can be a blurry one, and love can transcend that line in unexpected ways. Another high-profile example comes from the world of basketball. One of the most famous NBA stars of the 2000s was none other than the legendary Kobe Bryant. Known for his unmatched skills on the court, Kobe was a fan favorite worldwide, but one fan who had admired him from afar eventually became his wife. Vanessa Lane was just 17 years old when she first met Kobe while working as a background dancer in a music video. The two began a relationship, and despite the significant age difference, they fell in love. Their whirlwind romance led to a marriage in 2001 when Vanessa was just 18. Their love story was full of ups and downs, but they remained together for nearly 2 decades through the highs of his career and the lows of personal struggles. Vanessa, once just a fan of Kobe's, became his wife and the mother of his children. Their story was one of the most extraordinary examples of a fan turned spouse in the sports world, showing that even the world of professional basketball could witness a fan falling in love with their idol. Finally, there was a more recent story that seemed to defy every expectation. In the world of celebrity, one star who has managed to build a career out of making movies that have touched people's hearts is none other than the actor and comedian Kevin Hart. His rise to fame was meteoric, and he had millions of fans around the world who admired his comedic genius. However, one fan was about to become more than just a fan. Eniku Parrish was an avid follower of Kevin Hart's work long before they ever met, but in 2016, she would become the woman Kevin married. Their relationship began after they met at a party, and although Eniku had been a fan of Kevin for years, she found herself falling for his charm, his humor, and his incredible work ethic. In 2016, Kevin Hart and Eniku married, and they have since become one of Hollywood's most talked about couples. Eniku went from being a fan of Kevin's comedy to becoming his partner in life, showing that even in today's world, the lines between fan and spouse can blur in the most unexpected ways. These stories remind us that love doesn't always follow a traditional path. It can come from the most unlikely places, and sometimes the fans who admire their idols from afar end up living their dreams by becoming their life partners. While these relationships may have had their ups and downs, they prove that sometimes life can surprise us in the best ways. If you enjoyed these incredible stories, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay updated on all of our latest videos. Thanks for watching.